What do you do when you drop in frequency? Many people are associating going up and down in frequency almost like, oh, I dropped in frequency. Oh, I dropped in frequency. And then they drop even further because they kind of get a bit fed up, or like, oh, again, or like all of these things, right? And it's not like that. You know, you're just kind of, you're not really making yourself a service by doing that. You're making yourself a disservice. So basically the whole point is that when you drop in frequency, it's basically life giving you another chance at something. That's really what it is. It's like you screwed up somehow with your energy. You either said something and you were caught up in their energy, and suddenly you were in this kind of like dualistic way of talking to someone again. And that's okay, that can happen. The only thing that you do is that you take notes. You first try and like figure out what actually happened, because you feel like crap again, let's say, and even to the point where you actually dropped. So the first thing you do is like, okay, what did I do? Because there's always something that you do. It's not about the other person. The other person has a part to play, but based on your choices, you either play that game, which is the game that maybe the person that you were talking to were playing, which was a dualistic game. So you can fall for these ways of talking, ways of behaving, that is then adjusting you to the dualistic perspective. So making sure that, oh, this person said this, and then I said that, and then I went totally into that energy. So knowing that, and then you go, okay. Then you make a game plan. Okay, what do I do instead? Okay, instead, I'm going to stay centered, and I'm not going to go in with my energy into feeling what's going on there. I'm going to stay here, and then I'm going to feel that, okay, I'm here, and then I'm speaking from this perspective, from my body's perspective. Because what can happen, and many of us do this almost unconsciously, many of us do it unconsciously, and that is, and it is linked to our learning in childhood, where we basically experienced traumatic events that we didn't feel safe as babies or children, and then we developed this habit of feeling the outside for danger. That is basically what that is. It is actually a defense mechanism to feel other people. But once you have that ability and you have developed your own safety again, you can use it at will. And then it becomes a training of like, okay, I don't have to go feel other people. I don't have to go into their energy. I can actually just be in mine. I can just be in my energy and speak from here. And then I can choose to, if someone is open and wants to know and they're curious about their energy, then I can put my focus there and like, oh, I can feel this, for example. Sometimes you can feel that even if you are in your energy, if the other person's energy is very strong and kind of, and maybe they are projecting their energy on you and they have that thing. So you can feel that too. So it's important to kind of get these things straight so that you know that this is my energy, this is their energy. And then from there, you can actually start to have a better relation with people. And so that might be the first thing that you do. And it takes the form of certain behaviors and things that people say. How do you take that? Do you go in defense? Do you go in like, oh, I don't know what to do, or like all of those things are reactions. You can stay centered, and you can, instead of saying you don't know, because that what that will do is sentences like this will actually perpetuate that you don't know, because you're telling both yourself and God that you don't know, so you're going to get more of you don't know. So that those are certain things that you can start to shift, because sometimes we say things that we don't really mean, even though we kind of mean them in the moment, but we don't necessarily know the repercussions of continuously saying things like that. So your words are precious. So what you say to yourself matters, and what you say to others matter, because they're coming out of your vessel, your spaceship, which I like to call it, because it is sort of like that. And many of us haven't really fully comprehended the signals of the spaceship, and to know what the best course of action to take is, right? So based on that, um, if you then fall into this trap of, like, because that's what the duality is, like, it's you responding to someone else and then giving the other person energy, or someone else is kind of giving you energy, you're taking energy. Sometimes it's so unconscious that we just need to be more conscious of this, because as long as it's unconscious, it's still going to be there. It doesn't go away unless your behavior changes. So it then becomes about, okay, I need to learn how I operate this machinery. That is the first key that you need to do, is to learn to operate your body and the energy and know the signals. And then it goes into the point where I kind of started, which, if you're making a mistake and you're saying something and you fell into, like, let's say, almost like you can call it a trap. It's not really a trap. It's just learning how to manage your energy. That's all it is. And it is basically, if someone says something that is easy to go into victim or blame, or all of those are just sort of small tests of how well you're managing your energy. And so if you're doing something like that, then go, okay, first see what you're doing, like I mentioned, and then what do I do next? How do I do, what do I need? Maybe you need some focus training. So you could do things like meditation and focus on certain things, like that's focus training. But you can also do it with people. You can also practice with people. Practice stay on topic. That's a good one. Stay on topic with what you want to say. And so knowing then what is the next step, then when the next chance comes, you start to practice. And you have to practice, because practice makes perfect eventually. Well, I don't think actually practice makes perfect, but you get better. Perfect, I don't know if I want to even go into what perfect is, because I don't think it's ever attainable, because we're always going to want more. So that's another side thing there that I wanted to just share. So I wanted to give you that because right now I was in a situation where I dropped in frequency. So I experienced that, and that's the reason why I'm sharing this. So it's a little bit for me too. So it's like I'm talking about things that I'm going through also. So I actually had a situation, and this is my father we're talking about. And so I have realized that, like, he's very hurt, and the way that he is interpreting or the way that he is dealing with that is to fight. So he's very controlling. And although I'm in a place where, okay, I don't need this in my life anymore, because I see the truth of this. I see that, oh, wow, actually when people do this, they actually don't care. They say that they care, but their actions say something different. So I know that this is a karmic cycle, but I'm going in knowing. And when you go in knowing, it's better, but it's still not easy. it's always challenging because you're dealing with someone else. And basically why I do this is that I found it hard to let go of family and friends. I have found it hard to let go of those things. But what I'm starting to see is that it doesn't matter who it is. If someone is not showing you care, it's not worth it. But I don't want to just cut people. I want to communicate, because I want people to communicate with me if I do something so that I can correct, because I don't want to treat people bad. But it can't be used as a control thing either. Like, it's really important that we're honest with ourselves where we are, what we really want, right? And those things, like, it can easily be used as control, which is not the point. The point is to basically, what I want to give. Give to others what you would have wanted to give for yourself. This is really this in practice. And that really is how we get to the non-dualistic perspective, is by doing to others what we want to have done to us, even if it's challenging. Because sometimes there's, especially with what I'm going through, I have not told him because he doesn't want to hear. So you can say, well, why am I going into it? Well, it's like, well, what do? Do I just cut without explaining? It doesn't feel good to me. And if it doesn't feel good to me, it's not really my path. It might be someone else's path if they feel okay with that, if they want other people to treat them like that, right? So it's not been deliberate, but I saw it coming. So I did have a choice. And so I went in there. A little bit hesitant, but I realized that, well, I haven't properly tried to explain everything and really be honest with him what I feel all the time. And I have now, at least in one meeting, and that did not go very well, I would say. Like, I felt it went well in the sense that I got to share everything that I said. So I feel like I did well. I did well in terms of that I was honest. I shared how I felt. I was very direct because I don't think he understands anything else. And so I did that. And I'm hoping that he will realize that there is something here, because I need to at least say my piece so that he knows why I'm choosing to disconnect from him if he still chooses to express himself certain ways to me. Because I've started to learn my own value and that I don't want to be treated a certain way. And so it's not only about just being all, what are these, like, type of, I'm not doing this well, but but it's basically, it's not just about saying no, and it is that too. In the moment, it's important to stand up for what you believe and what you want to have, right? And if something is not, speaking is important. But it's not necessarily that it has to come with full force unless it doesn't come across, right? And if it's someone that close, then it's important that it comes across, because you want that person to know, right? If it's someone that you really care about, then you want to make sure that message comes across. And sometimes that can be actually a very loving thing, to yell, to get through to someone that doesn't want to listen, so that you can actually deliver a message, so that at least they know. So I'm not saying that this process is complete. It's not. But I just wanted to start to talk about this because it's important when we are talking about going down in frequency. Because sometimes it is just going down there to correct something, to start to like, can this be corrected? But don't get stuck there, and don't get stuck into the habitual patterns of whatever that is, because that is a potential danger. And you and me, whoever is getting lowered in frequency, we need to be the one that makes sure that we are putting ourselves first. So that's what this is all about. And right now for me, it's just about telling him what I'm really truly experiencing from him. Because we've been skimming on the surface for many years, and we can't hide anymore these things. We can't hide anything about us. And whenever someone is angry or defensive or freeze, it is a natural defense mechanism of the ego. So there's something that is not spoken. It's something that's hidden. It always is like this, unless there is a force that's coming from God, which sometimes can happen. There's a difference in feeling with those things. Some just, if it's from the I am, or someone just kind of channeling God, you will feel it, because you will feel it resonates in your being. You will feel it resonates as truth. So I wanted to share that, and I hope that it helped you. And know that to get back up there, once you know how all of this works, it is easy. It can be easy. But sometimes it can be a bit tricky too. But what makes it tricky is these lower frequency energies. It's not really the clarity. The clarity is clarity. But once we dive into those things, we can experience energies and thoughts and views and feelings that are not. And that's something to look after. Because what you can experience is that the other person's field gets intertwined with your field, and then you can feel their field more. So it's a lot of things that is important to be aware of, especially when you're in a high frequency, and then if there are some people in your life that are of a low frequency that you have to deal with. Sometimes also, just pay attention that sometimes also those people are there to show you something. So sometimes they're not just there because they are in a low frequency and you're not, which is very easy. It's very easy to blame that on someone. But sometimes they are there to show you where you're at. So it's always good to look here first. But I have done a lot of processing when it comes to my dad. So I just want to mention that. I've done a lot of researching internally with myself to basically, and I've realized a lot of different things about our dynamic, and this is what I see as truth. So what you're seeing is quite a long process, which has gone over many years, and it's finally now that I'm seeing things clearly, and I know what to do. Because before I didn't really know exactly what to do. I kind of knew sort of, but not exactly. And actually with me speaking it with clarity and truth in my own authenticity. Fully embodied. All right. Fully embodied. Maybe not fully embodied. When you go into these frequencies, it's hard to be fully embodied. I think I would say that I'm much more embodied. I think we're getting more and more embodied each year. We're further and further anchoring our being into these bodies. And that's the whole point. So that we, the I am, that who we are, can come through. Because that is the whole point. The whole point to become who you really are, you have to go through these things. And they can be challenging, but it's important for you to cross over to the non-dualistic perspective, because these energies needs to be harmonized. And so don't be afraid to go into lower densities. They are definitely there to show you something. And the more you learn about all of these things, the more you will master your own energy. And if you're interested in a more practical approach to take you through all of these things, I invite you to sign up for the Holistic Optimizer. The link is in the description. That is basically where we basically break things down for you, and we start to look at one thing at a time. And first, we're basically giving you all the theory, and then we're going to make you learn. We're going to teach you how to alchemize all of these energies, and also what is your particular issues, obviously. And so that is a way that you can get some assistance to comprehend these things, to master your life, because that is what we're here for. We're here to master our life. And I invite you to come along for the ride, so that you can also be in the non-dualistic perspective, who you truly are, and live your greatest life yet. All right, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.